All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to episode 10 of Luna Podcast. A lot of you guys have been asking, when am I going to come back? I've been making the transition to a new city. I've been moving myself to Las Vegas, seeking a new life out here. Still in between El Paso and Las Vegas. So I'm not fully over here full time. I'm splitting my time, just trying to split the businesses and try to see, what ventures I'm going to get into out here. And it's been an amazing transition. That's why I haven't been doing the episodes. And it's been one of the things that I wanted to get back in here because a lot of you guys have been messaging me asking, hey, when are you going to do an episode again? Well, here I am. And this episode's going to be a really good one. This is something that has been circulating a lot through social media, through a lot of celebrities that I'm pretty sure some of you guys follow. And it has a lot to deal with how men are falling into these situations with modern women. It's been something that I've been paying attention to a lot. And I've been able to help out a lot of my clients that they usually come to me and ask me for advice. And I'm usually there to, give them my outlook on things just because of my experiences that I've been through. And this is one of the ones that I feel like it's going to help a lot of men. And through this, I hope that the women that are listening, I'm not trying to take a shot at all of women. This is just a very small percentage of women, and they're labeled as being, modern women. So something that's been happening a lot in society today is how women are not respecting the man. They're not respecting the man that they're with. They're not respecting the leadership, and they're not respecting the masculine frame. And the more and more I see it, I've been wanting to just truly talk about it even more, not to attack women, but just to expose the truth of what's really happening. And there's this circulating situation that's been happening with Shannon Sharpe. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it, or if you guys haven't heard of it, he's a Hall of Fame football player. I'm a Denver Broncos fan, and he played tight end for the Broncos, and he won a Super Bowl twice with them. And it's really surprising to see men of this, I guess, level in their life. They're labeled as high value men, and they've been able to achieve a lot of things in life. And it puts them in a situation where they easily become a target to women because they have money, they have fame. And a lot of the women that are going, towards these men, most of them, they want clout. And it's crazy because a lot of these guys, they're successful and they're still falling into this trap with these type of women. And I'm about to explain why. A lot of these situations that are happening is because guys are just not aware. There's another podcast that I started with one of my close friends, Mike, with the Antisocial Edge podcast. So if you guys want to go check that out as well, we talk about the similar stuff. So, and we get into depth with a lot of situations that are happening in the world today. And this is one of the ones that we keep talking about, is that guys that don't have frame. Even when a man has money, even when a man has some type of status, they're still falling into this trap. And I'm going to try to explain it to you guys as best as possible, because a lot of it's going to be directed at, what women do. I'm not saying that this is all women. This is just a very small percentage of women. So let me open up the video I was going to show you guys, and I'm going to put the recording that's been going around. It's been going viral, and it's a conversation between Shannon Sharpe and this 20-year-old. She's an OnlyFans model, and it's just wild to me. He's already in his 50s, and he's dealing with OnlyFans models. I'm like, bro, like, you have the money, you have the status to, be able to get any woman you want on this planet, literally just because of that stature, that stature of man that he already is. And a lot of these guys, they fall into the situation. And I'm just gonna put it here on the stage so that way you guys could hear it, and then we'll be able to talk after.
Well, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Daddy.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
See, I'm just gonna pause it quick. This girl just looks like she's not interested in anything. And Shannon Sharpe is like, okay, what? Like, bro, like you're still putting up with like behavior of somebody that's in high school, somebody that's very, young and immature. And you'd expect these type of men to learn. I mean, this guy, he's in his 50s and he still hasn't learned. He's still dealing with this type of women that are just garbage.
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you do with the shit you did to me.
So I'm just going to stop it right there. So he's practically trying to get back at her somehow, I guess. Choking her is the way that he's going to take it. But I'm telling you, like, this is a situation where the woman gets the best out of the man. And I keep seeing it happen so much, not just in celebrity world or athletes and stuff like that, but I see it all around me, where a lot of men, they can't control, I guess, their urges. They can't control their lust. They can't control any temptation. They don't have no discipline, even with money or without money. And this is an example of a man that has no frame. And this is one of the reasons why I've been doing this podcast, is because I want to show examples. I want to give you guys the experiences that I've had that have truly helped me understand what it is to have a frame, what it is to be able to lead a woman and be in a better situation. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to have the best relationship with that woman, is if she follows your lead, if she respects who you are as a man. And this woman, it's clear, she's in it for the money. She's suing him for what, $50 million, and his career is going to be in jeopardy because of it. Because all these recordings of him, throwing threats of what he's going to do to her it's not a good look. And it's going to be interesting how this story is going to unfold, because he was about to, I don't know if he did already, or he was about to sign, I think it's $100 million contract with ESPN. And because of this, I mean, he might not get that contract, because he did put himself out there saying that he's going to choke a woman. And that's not a good look. There's a lot of situations where men that lose their frame and they become emotional, this is the result of it. And the more I talk about it in these podcasts, it has a lot to do with a man that doesn't have something, I guess, in him that holds him together, and that's what creates the frame. He has to lean on either his religion, he has to lean on his kids, his family, but he has to lean on something that's going to help him develop that frame. And you're not going to develop a frame by going with OnlyFans girls or just any girl in general, especially a girl that just is modernized. That's why the title of this episode is Men Dealing with Modern Women. And a lot of people have attacked me on social media because for a while there, I was attacking Taylor Swift for a good while. And it was during the football season, and Taylor Swift and or what's his name? Travis Kelce. And I'm trying to attack women that are affecting society as a whole. And the more of these women that are out there, OnlyFans girls, women like Taylor Swift, they're showing other women that it's okay for you to do your own thing without listening to a man. And Taylor Swift, well, she's like already going to be in her 40s, I think. And she has no family. She has no kids. She's truly a modern feminist woman. And women like her are destroying society. It's confusing women. And it's showing women not the way, I guess, not to be a wife. You know, you never hear Taylor Swift come out and be like, you know what, you should listen to your man. You should respect them. You should look up to a masculine man. You'll never hear women like that say that, especially even like OnlyFans girls. You're never going to hear from them. And most women are following their lead. And it's becoming a huge, huge problem. And the more that this happens over and over and over, just in the society today, it's causing a lot of culture shift into families not being together. It's destroying the nuclear family and holding that true root of what it's supposed to be. I guess a society where more families are together than divorced. That's what I'm trying to say, because divorce rates are at the all-time high. More women are becoming more well paid, which is an amazing thing, but it's teaching them that they don't need no man. If you always hear women that make more money, it's their money. It's not the man's money. You know, the one indicator of divorce is if a woman makes more than the man. That's the first indicator. If a man makes more money than the woman, it doesn't matter. You know, he's there to provide and protect and give her the best life possible. That's a job of a masculine man. But the woman, she starts making more money than her husband, she's not going to look up to him. Guess what's going to happen with that? She's going to look down on him. And with that causes less, I guess, attraction. She's not going to have that genuine burning desire for him. And usually that happens because women are very hypergamous. You know, they want to look up to a man. They don't want to look down on a man. And that's why I'm saying this is one of the indicators that causes divorces. Look it up. This is all research. Everything that I'm saying right now, it's all research. I'm not just blabbering any shit out right now. It's all backed up by research. The more a woman makes, it's a first indicator that it's going to be an issue down the line, where it's going to eventually lead to divorce or just the couple separating. And that's why I talk a lot about it here on this podcast, especially with the last episodes, that a man has to be in his frame. He has to be masculine. He has to achieve the best things possible in life. So that way the woman that he's with, she knows that he is the best possible in her life. You know, he has to always strive to be better. A lot of guys, they don't want to do that. They're complacent, but they're not getting the results. You know, this is why a lot of the guys that I talk to that are having a lot of issues, I always tell them, I'm like, if you have issues with your woman and she's like losing respect towards you, sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror, because at the end of the day, it's the man's fault. Everything is the man's fault. You know, you always hear that saying for the most part, but in situations where the relationship ends up falling apart, the man could have done something different to save it. It's always on the man's back. Like, he has to carry that relationship, and he has to make sure that the woman feels safe, because I hear a lot of situations where the woman, she loses the respect of the man. You know, he starts doing less things at home. She asks him, you know, to do things at the house, just very little simple things, and he doesn't do it. And of course, she's going to lose respect. And this is just very minimal things that I'm talking about. But like I said before, the number one thing that I think a lot of divorces, as reasons why they've been happening a lot, is because the woman, she's starting to make more money. And you could look up the stats. 70 to 80% of women initiate divorce. That is a very scary stat. And that's a real stat for everybody that has never heard that stat. It's a real stat. And it's showing that more women are leaving divorces, or they're leaving marriages. But why is that? You kind of have to look at the big picture, and it's easy to blame the man all day long. It really is. Like we hear it all the time. Men are not men anymore. My last episode, that's exactly what I talked about. And you have to look at the big picture. Is that woman modernized? Has she been part of the culture shift that's happening? Because one situation that I see happen a lot, where marriages specifically, they've been married for so many years, and the woman starts to get modernized. And by what I mean by modernized is that she starts listening to her single friends, what they're doing. She starts listening to the music. She starts watching shows like Temptation Island, Love is Blind, all that garbage. And I will say it is garbage. To anybody that's listening, to women that are listening to this, I'm sorry to say that, but it is garbage. And the reason I said it is because it's influencing you. Even if you think that it isn't, it is. Like, I give an example on the other podcast that I'm with. I used to watch Game of Thrones religiously. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know what that show is. And I got influenced in the most minor thing possible. And it was wine. In that show, they drink a fuck ton of wine. And I ended up just starting to drink wine every fucking episode. And it's because I was seeing that. And that's a minor influence. Why? Because I was seeing it. And the same thing goes with shows like this. It's like, if all you're watching is betrayal, if all you're watching is that the grass is greener somewhere, if all you're watching is people cheating on each other, if all you're watching is that people are choosing people left or right, guess what it's doing? It's creating this normal mentality for you that it's not normal. It's not reality. They call it reality TV, but it's garbage TV. It's delusional TV. And that's what I mean by, you have to make sure that the woman you're with, she's not getting modernized. That's a first step, because a lot of these women, they're getting modernized. Same with the OnlyFans girls, going back to the Shannon Sharpe situation. That woman is 20 years old. Like, think about it. I think there was a statistic that between the age of 18 through 24, and this is for girls that are, they turn from 18 to 24, 1 million OnlyFans, I guess, creators are part of it. 1 million. I think it's only like 10 million or 8 million women in general. So it's saying that 1 out of 8 or 1 out of 10, I think it's 1 out of 8, is an OnlyFans girl. Like, these women are young, coming out of high school, going straight to OnlyFans. And guess what? Guess where they're getting their influence from? Is all this fucking women that are just putting their shit out there. And that's what I'm saying. Influence is a bitch, especially if you let it feed you enough, especially if you see it on a daily basis. Because a lot of these women that are coming out of high school and stuff, they see other women, they're driving like fancy ass cars, they're having beautiful homes, they're just traveling. They see the lavish lifestyle, especially with the shows that come out on Netflix. Like, I think there was one show, I think it was called something about the real estate. And it's a bunch of real estate agents, were more women, and they're living a lavish lifestyle. Keeping up with the Kardashians, they watch a lavish lifestyle. So this is influencing women, and it's making them find an easy way to make money. And at what cost? A lot of their value is getting destroyed because they're not respecting who they are as a woman. They don't have a backbone. A lot of them might have daddy issues. A lot of them, they don't even understand what they're doing. because they're young and they didn't have a good family upbringing. And it's one of the things that I tell men when they're really trying to get into a serious situation with a woman. I always say, look at her past. Her past is going to be telling. You'll be able to tell so much in the behaviors of a woman by what she has done prior to you. A woman cares about the man's future. She wants a man that she could look up to, a man that has money, a man that has stature, that he has something going for him. And guess what men look for? They look at her past. That's what we care about. So these women that are falling into this delusion is causing them to be single. This is the reality of it. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these men, they don't understand that. And they get involved with these type of women, and then they wonder why it doesn't work out. It's never going to work out if you date an OnlyFans girl. It just never is. It goes to that saying, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. It's a saying for a reason, because you just can't. Her past matters. I don't know if you guys have heard. Let me see if I could pull it up. It's a graph. I just had it up right now. But it explains the more sexual partners that a woman has, it's going to dictate if that relationship or marriage is going to succeed. You guys might be looking at me crazy because I'm telling you, a lot of this information, I have researched it. It's been researched by so many people, a lot of psychologists, therapists. They've been looking into it. So this is the reality of it. Fuck, I don't have it here in my bookmarks. I might speak on this on the next one then, but let me just put it out there just for that way you guys could understand. So this graph, it explains like the percentage of that marriage working depending on her body count. And I think from virgin to one partner, it's at like 90%. And I think from 2 to 3 partners, sexual partners, it drops to like 70%. And from like 4 to 6, it drops to like 40. Like this graph is real. I'm gonna try to find it right now. I'll pause right now and I'll look for it. And I think after like 6 partners, it drops to like 30-20%. And it shows that the more sexual partners a woman has, the least successful your marriage is going to be. And that's reality. That's the truth. A lot of men, they fall into these situations with these 304s, aka hoes. They're going to have a lot of situations where they don't know why this woman is mentally unstable, why she's not listening to you, why she's not respecting you. This is a reason why. You know, so to the men that are listening, this is one of the reasons why. And it's only going to become a headache down the line. You know, this is percentages that are real. You know, there's a reason why. That's what I'm saying. Going back to why women leave their marriages, 70 to 80%. Some of them could be just because they got bored. You know, somebody from their past made a comeback. I'm not trying to just attack women. You know, it could be a lot of things. A man could have cheated on you. But the thing is like, these are stats that are very telling, and we have to get to the root of it. You know, it's something that is happening where you kind of have to question both genders. You know, the man has to be a man. He has to be the leader. He has to be the one that, you know, provides and protects. I get that. But the woman has to preserve her value, because if she doesn't, there's going to be a lot of issues in their relationship. I'm not saying if you have this body count, you're fucked. No, because I truly feel some people that truly want to change and become their best partner or become the best person for their partner, I feel like it's doable. if you do the work. A lot of people, they say that they've changed, that they've healed, but they haven't done shit. And it starts with accountability. And I'm talking about both genders. I'm not just going to attack women because we hear this all the time. Well, women can't take accountability. Well, men can't either sometimes. For the most part, I think it's a both issue. But a man, he has to be his best self, provide, and be at his top game. And the woman has to preserve her value. Because if she doesn't, it's just going to bring up issues. You know, I wouldn't want to be with a woman that hasn't been with more than like 4 or 5 people, even less than that. I feel like just because of the percentages, like numbers don't lie. You know, I think one of the issues that I think this happens is because women release more oxytocin during sex. And that's research. That's actual stats. That's real research, biology. Like, I'm not making shit up that women release more of an oxytocin. That's why women, they get attached more to the men. That's why guys, they could just go fuck anybody and it doesn't affect them. You always hear that, but it's the truth. This is biology. This is why women, they have to be pregnant for 9 months while a man could still go get 100 other women pregnant. It's biology. It's under nature. We have fallen into a world where, we have to be monogamous. You know, it's a respectable thing to be with one woman. Some men might see it different. Some men do want to be with that one woman. And I respect that. That's what I want too. I want to be with one woman and be monogamous to her, but she has to come with value as well. And by what I mean by that is just I'm going to test her. I'm going to see her past. That's one of the first things. I want to see what she's done in the past, because what she's done in the past could become a habit in our relationship. You know, because my future, it's already in front of her. She already knows what I bring to the table. That's the thing about it. Whenever you become high value as a man, you can't hide it. Everything's laid out on the table. So when the woman comes, I'll be like, okay, show me your past. Show me that you have discipline. Show me that you've preserved your value. Not just giving it away, because if I marry you, I'm thinking that in my head. I'm like, well, she gave it away back then easily to anybody because she needed validation or whatever the reason is. I'm not going to feel confident being with that woman long term. I'm just not. That's why I'm saying the past matters for a woman. And high value men care about that. That's why I don't know if a lot of women, they fall into this situation where they're talking to a guy and things are going good for like a month or 2 or whatever, and then he ghosts you. I'm pretty sure women have fallen into that, or women that are listening to this. But it's because they probably caught something that you had a promiscuous past. No man wants a woman with a promiscuous past. I'm sorry to say that, but it's just, they'll use you for one thing, all day, but they're not going to give you the ring. They're not going to give you the relationship, because the woman holds the access to sex. The man holds the access to a marriage or a relationship, because the man's the one that asks the woman, hey, you want to be my girlfriend? You want to be my wife? And the woman is the one that initiates. We're not initiates, but she's the one that grants the sex from happening. So it's just gender roles. People, both genders, they have, control of what they want in their life. And this is what happens. It's just situations like the Shannon Sharpe. They get with women not knowing her past, which it's crazy because her past is literally in front of him. He knew that she was an OnlyFans model. So it's his fault. That's why I don't feel bad for him at all. Like, I've lost complete respect for that type of man. And he has his own podcast. He's talked about relationships and he's talked about this and that, but nothing ever makes him credible anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like, when somebody does something like this, and it's obvious that it's just something that, I don't know, it's something that's just common sense. Like, bro, you're fucking rich as fuck. and you're still dealing with these type of garbage women, like, you deserve what's coming to you. And I talk about this a lot. You know, women or men, they get what they deserve, and women get what they deserve based on what they do in their actions. If you become the best man possible, women are going to come to you. You're not going to have to do the chasing. You know, a lot of women are going to be like, oh, no, a man should chase. I'm like, yeah, I get that. But if you think about it, the men that are chasing you, women, are usually not the guys that you want. If you think about it, a lot of these men that are chasing you, sending you DMs left and right, are men that you do not want. They see you as a prize. But when the man becomes the prize, the woman starts chasing him because she knows that he is rare. He's not something that you could just find anywhere. And this is what happens a lot in social media. A lot of the delusion happens. And I see it all the time. You know, women are posting their selfies with 100 filters, you know, seeking that validation, thinking that they're at the top of their game, but they're not, because look at the low-hanging fruit that are after you. They don't realize this. Maybe they do, but because it's such a big amount of men that are giving them that attention, they feel like they're a catch. They feel like they're something special, but they're not. Because right now, a lot of men are lonely. They're not in relationships. 1 out of 3 guys haven't had sex. Well, what was the stat? 1 out of 3 guys are virgins or haven't had sex in the last 10 years, from the age of 18 to 30. 1 out of 3 guys, virgin or hasn't had sex with anybody, like in the last year or something like that. And then the percentage just gets a little bit better as it goes up, but it's not to an extent where a lot of men are getting action from women, or actually, you know, dating or becoming boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, in any relationship. Like, men are very lonely. You know, the more that porn is out there with OnlyFans, and sex dolls are going to come out, like, most guys, they're just going to come home, watch porn, and call it a day. They'd rather do that than deal with women that are not healthy for them. And that's sad. I talk a lot about it on the last episode, or the last podcast that I'm doing, is that porn is a destruction of relationships and men. They're watching it a lot. It's destroying the way that they think. They're seeing women as just objects, but it's not helping when women are sexualizing themselves on social media, showing a little bit of cleavage, showing a little bit of your ass. It's those little things. You know, women know what they're doing when they're posting. You know, men have sexualized women so much because they see it everywhere when they open their phone. Like, I had to come to a point where I had to stop following these type of women that are just putting this stuff out there, because it's crazy how much it happens. And the more that men are used to seeing this on a daily basis, they're going to just see women as one object. And then women wonder why they're not wives, why they're not taking them serious. It's because look at what you've done. When you post a thirst trap every week, or putting yourself out there where you're sexualizing yourself, it's like a resume. That's what I'm saying. Like, men care about your past. So that's one of the first things that a man is going to look at when he goes into your profile. He's going to see if you're going to be even worthy of a relationship. Is how many men have seen your body. And many women are not going to understand this, but for us, it's an ego thing. You know, it's one of those things that we want a woman that nobody's had or seen. That's one of the things that I tell men that I'm helping out. And I usually tell them, like, If you're trying to get serious with the relationship, one of the things you got to look at is she's not putting herself out there in a promiscuous way. Bikini pictures showing cleavage, gym pictures. That's another thing. Like if you're not an influencer, being an influencer, that's a whole different talk, because you shouldn't date an influencer because, I'll talk more about it later, but it's just not good. Women they're addicted to attention. It's just constant. But the woman that you want to take serious, some of you guys might look at me crazy. She has to have a private account. That's the only way. We live in a society today where women are getting flown out left and right all over the world. It's easy for women to meet athletes. Like I just talked about, an OnlyFans girl, 20 years old. She was able to access the attention of Shannon Sharpe, a Hall of Fame football player. And this is why I'm saying, like, women are sexualizing themselves. Men are going to be men. They're going to look. And because they have some type of status, they're going to reach out to them. That's why it's one of the things that I talk about the most is like a woman has to preserve her value. If not, don't complain that you don't have no good men. If you go to the bar, if you go to the club, if you make that a normal thing, it's part of your resume. That's what I'm saying. Like, women have to think this way. Like, if you're really trying to find a good man that's going to really take care of you, and that he's at the top of his game, that's the only way you're going to be able to impress him and might even have a chance with him. Because top value men are very hard to find. A beautiful woman, they're everywhere. That's just the way it is. And that's why men take it serious for the most part. Men that have been unplugged from the matrix, from everything that society is trying to modernize, those men are the ones that women should be looking for. And I had this talk with one of my friends, and I told her, I was like, why isn't that you see channels on YouTube or podcast where it's telling women what to look for, what they should be doing to attract this type of man? Think about it. There's hardly any that I've ever even heard of. There's one that I've seen, and she's a little old school, Allison Armstrong. She has a few books out. She's very old school in the way that she understands the masculine and feminine frame. And she's one of the only few that I've seen. Candace Owens, that's one of them. That's good. There's maybe a handful that I've seen, but the rest that I've seen by women, what is it? It's just storytelling, talking shit about your ex, the man that you're going out with the next day or some shit like that. It's like, it's garbage information. And it's, like I said, it's influencing the next generation of women. Outside of men, I'll beat on men. I beat up on men the last episode, and how they should become the best man possible to be able to attract such a woman too of value. Because if you're shit as a man, you're not going to attract a woman of value either. It goes vice versa. Right now, I'm just trying to explain what happens when women are modernized and reasons why a lot of them, they're going to be single. They're going to be single and they're going to be struggling, and they're going to just be blaming the world. That's what I see a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like the podcast that I've heard and the TikToks and stuff like that I've been seeing, they either shit on their ex, they blame everybody else but themselves. Like, it's easy to blame anybody else. But is the woman ever going to learn? Is she going to be able to be in a better situation for her future if she's always blaming everybody else? She's not. And this is causing a lot of women to do the same thing over and over. And you wonder why the culture is fucked. I literally just spit it all out right now. And this is just a very minor part of it. If you want results as a man, you have to be the best man possible. be at the top of your game. And I'm talking about in general with everything, your lifestyle, your career, your family, your money. Because when you have an abundance as a man, it's a beautiful thing. Because guess what that brings? It creates a mindset where you become picky in a way for yourself. But if you're an average man, an average Joe, like a Joe Schmo, like whatever, like you're not going to be able to be picky. And this is why a lot of men, they settle and they get with whatever they were able to attract in that moment. That's why a lot of marriages are broken, because the man wasn't able to reach his peak. And he might have met a woman along the way. And if he doesn't keep climbing the ladder in his life, like I said before, hypergamy is a real thing with women. They want to look up to the man. And if the woman starts making more money, it's going to collapse the marriage or relationship. That's what's happening. Think about it. You look at your friends, you look at people that have been married for a long time, look at their lifestyle. Think about it. Sometimes people, the woman that made more money, where did that relationship go? For the most part, it's a divorce. And if they had a divorce and they had kids, maybe they stay for the kids. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these percentages, the 70 to 80, that's crazy, because that's what they even initiated. Imagine the percentage of the relationships that are still together. They're still together because of the kids or whatever other reason. I feel like that percentage would have been higher. If you tell me that I'm going to jump out of a plane and my parachute has a 20% chance of coming out, I would not jump. And then you wonder why people are not getting married, why men are not committing towards marriage, especially when they see these type of stats. This is all reality. Like, I wish I could sugarcoat this in any other way, but man, it's scary. Especially for anybody that's been listening to this and has never heard this information before. It truly is scary. And that's why I'm very hard on men and women, the way I talk about it here on this podcast. Because if men were men, masculine men, leaders, and they're able to protect and provide, that would easily put their woman in a different energy. She'll be feminine. She'll be able to follow the lead. Especially, if she doesn't have a past. She's preserved her past. And hopefully she doesn't have more issues. Because I did talk about the red flags in a lot of my other episodes. Because one of the relationship breakers as well from a woman not respecting you as a man is if she has daddy issues. And the daddy issues one is a big one, because I went through it recently in my relationship. And when this happens is when a woman never understood the way to respect a man or to take authority from a man. So by definition, it makes that woman masculine. And in a relationship, there's only one masculine. There can't be two. The guy doesn't want to come home and date himself. It's just going to clash. And that's why a lot of situations with the masculine, feminine, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of it. It's very important for that dynamic to be working, because if it's not, there's going to be a clash. And that's why people come together and both people are masculine, or people are just against each other and they're trying to be the leader in the relationship, and then issues happen. But in a relationship, there's only one CEO. There's only one leader. There's only one king. There's not two. And it's the man that should be the king, the leader, and the CEO of that relationship. Because once the woman tries to take that initiative, it's a countdown for that relationship to explode. That's just the reality. A lot of this stuff is very hard to hear, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys have gone through it. I've gone through it myself. That's why I just opened up a little bit on my experience. My last relationship, she had daddy issues. And I don't want to just blame somebody. You know, I could have been better as a man too, but I did my part to protect and provide, give her the best life possible, make her smile. But it just wasn't enough. Because whenever I was trying to put a boundary, put a standard, there would always be just a clash. She would get defensive. She didn't understand that what I was trying to do is to protect the relationship and not to hold her hostage, because that's how what a masculine man does. He's supposed to make her feel safe and not make her feel like she's in a prison. Like, that's not what it's about for a masculine man. A masculine man provides, protects, leads, takes care of the family in every way possible, and gives the woman that energy where she feels feminine and she could follow a man and be like, you know what? I trust the man that I'm with. But most women can't say that right now. It's reasons why a lot of women, they fall into that role of being masculine. But a lot of the issues that happen that I've seen, like through my experience, is that the woman tries to be the leader as well, or not respect the man that she's with, to understand that, you know what, this is the man that I should be looking up to and following his lead. And whenever that doesn't happen, guess what happens? Fucking arguments, fights, left and right. It happens. It happened with me. And guess what happened with me? It wasn't the first time that it had happened. I dumped her. I had to let go of her because I had to come to a conclusion that she had a greater trauma that I could not fix. And that's why I said a woman has to look at herself in the mirror too and take accountability. Same as a man. But if the woman doesn't do the job and the man's trying to lead, it's not going to work. And you could jump with somebody else. And guess what? You're going to have the same fucking issue over and over. Nothing else is going to be able to change the reality of it. Especially if you're trying to be with a masculine man. I'm talking to the women. Because there is guys out there, and I hate seeing it. They become yes men. They become pushovers. Unless that's the type of man that you want. But guess what? It's only going to last for a little bit. You're going to get tired of it. Because eventually you're going to fall into the role of being masculine in that relationship. Because a beta-tized male, he's going to say yes to you. He's going to be very passive. He's not going to have a backbone. He can't tell you no. A masculine man tells the woman no. It's not yes to everything. And most women, they're not ready for that conversation. And that's why whenever a woman approaches a man that's of that stature, masculine, and he has his top game going and everything, they don't know how to, respect it or take it in a healthy way. They don't. They don't, because they've been used to a bunch of men that are beta males. And I've always said it. I feel like 70% of guys are very feminine. It's only a very small percentage of men that are actually masculine. It's a very, very small percentage of men that are masculine. So these are the type of men that most women have dealt with. So when they're in the presence of a true masculine man, they don't know how to act. And most of the time, they retaliate. They'll be like, oh, you're too controlling, or you're trying to separate me from this. Like, oh, you're insecure. Like, you hear all that garbage. But what that woman is telling you is that I've been used to men that have been telling me yes all my life. Think about it. And it goes back to showing, like, If a woman has daddy issues, if he wasn't involved, she's going to have issues, obviously, respecting the man and taking the authority of any other man. But I think the daddy issue 2.0 is if the dad was involved but gave her everything, that in itself is as bad as daddy issues without a woman that didn't have her father at all. That's the one that most people don't talk about. I feel like one of these days I'm gonna sit down and truly write a book. I think I'm really gonna look into it, and just because I studied the culture a lot and I've been able to see the reality of what happens with women and men. And my goal is to help both genders, but I really want to focus a lot specifically on men because I'm a man and I've been through it. So I don't want men to go through the same mistakes that I did. So what I was going to say with the daddy issues 2.0 is if she did have her dad in her life, but he gave her everything, she's going to expect a man to give her the world. And if he doesn't, it's the same situation. It's like a trauma. Like whatever the woman's used to, or even the man, like she's going to expect that. And that in itself, I mean, could put her in a very bad situations. That's why a lot of women that they want to live a lavish lifestyle. They want to travel. They're showing their Louis Vuitton, Birkin bag and stuff like that. Those are those type of women for the most part. But they kind of want to express that, hey, I have it because daddy always gave it to me. So they kind of want to just always put that out there. You know, it's like daddy's little princess. That in itself is bad. I dealt with that with the woman in the past. And guess what? She's living a life where, you know, she wants everything perfect on her. You know, hair extensions, fucking bags, traveling where she's at, posting everything, just trying to do it for validation, but it's very unhealthy. I'm gonna pause right now because these little dogs are outside fucking barking their ass out. All right, sorry about that, guys. They start barking, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep going. But going back to what I was saying, I dealt with a woman like that, and she ended up just being very modernized. She was in a very, how can I say, mental situation where she just wanted to get validated. You know, it was either because she always got validated her entire life as a child, and she got modernized without her even knowing. And it just led her back to a bad path and into her adulthood or to her adulthood. And it didn't help her. And I see her life now. I mean, last time that I checked, maybe like a year and a half ago, but I was like, damn, she's going through it, you know, like women like her are going to just not seek validation just on social media, but from the opposite sex. And like I told you guys, like, these type of women are modernized because why? They see shows, and yeah, she was one of the ones that would watch the Love is Blind, all those fucking garbage shows, and she doesn't understand that she's only burying herself in a fucking hole that she's not going to be able to get out of because the right man's not going to take her. You know, her loss. She doesn't, I mean, that's what I'm saying. A lot of women, they don't understand this. You have to preserve your value. You know, when a woman goes through a breakup, the last thing you should do is go fuck somebody else or go have another baby with them, because that says a lot about you. That says a lot about your character, because at the end of the day, the man is the one dominating you. Like, you have to do more to allow that to happen. It shows a lot of the woman that you are. And I'm telling you, to the right man, he's not going to want you. A beta male will fucking be all over you. A pushover. You know, those guys that have been waiting for years to get a chance with you, those are beta males. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not just women. These men that are lonely, that don't have an abundance, that any woman that they see on social media and they feel like they have a chance with, They'll sit there for years, weeks, months. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, they're complete bitches. I'm sorry to say it, but they're just bitches. They're pussies. And guess what? That's gonna give the woman that is allowing that confusion. And then she's gonna be like, well, fuck, why isn't he treating me good? Why isn't he that man that I thought he was? Like, women have to understand too, like, whenever you're going through a rough patch, a breakup, just understand the man that you're talking to, most of the time, they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna tell you yes just to get in your pants. They're not gonna be honest with you. Everything you're doing, they'll be like, oh yeah, you're doing amazing, you're doing this. Like, they're gonna be your best hype people in your life, but they only have one goal in their mind, and it's not to give you a relationship or a marriage. I'm telling you, a lot of these guys, they think with their pee-pee, and it's fucking up the hookup culture as well. Like, it's fucking up the culture just in general, and it's creating the hookup culture. You know, because they're lying to women, they're putting themselves in situations where they shouldn't be in. And a lot of these women, they don't understand that. It's like, these guys, they don't give a fuck about you. A man that's truly interested in you, that truly wants to commit to you, he's not going to waste your time. Like, maybe a week, maybe in a month, like, he'll know, like, okay, this is the woman I actually want to spend time with, and I'm going to show her. I'm going to lead her. Because if he goes with the intention of just having sex with you, it's kind of obvious. And like I said, women, they can't give their value away just quickly, because guess what? That's a resume that you're putting into your life, especially for the right man. He's going to care about that. You can't give your body just freely and expect the best man possible to come to your life and save you. So think about it. It's one of those situations. I mean, you guys have to understand, to request or to want something of value, you have to be value yourself. And it's unfortunate that we live in a world where a lot of people are hurt. A lot of people are traumatized, and then they're not trying to take the initiative to, I guess, work on themselves or work on that trauma, so that way they don't bleed on somebody else. I wonder why nobody talks about that as much as I'm doing right now on more podcasts. Like, it's one of the things that I feel like if everybody worked on themselves, took accountability, looked themselves in the mirror, men did what they're supposed to, women did what they're supposed to, we would have a better generation. But you know, going back to the influence of what's out there, the music, the shows, the people you even keep around you, it's a huge influence. Like, if you're with somebody, I'm talking to the men right now. You're talking to a girl or woman, look at her friend group. Like, her friend group is going to be one of the biggest, like, I guess, indicators if that relationship is going to work down the line. It's crazy to say that, but most women, when they have issues with their man, guess who the woman goes to? Is that friend group. And that's why I always say, never tell your shit. Whatever you have going on in your relationship, don't go to your friends and tell them, because if all you're telling your friends is how bad this guy is, this and that, well, that friend group is going to be like, you know, that guy is a piece of shit, because all they're hearing is bad things. So when it comes to a situation where the woman is in a situation where she's going to leave the man or stay with him, the friend group, of course, they're going to be like, oh, no, you should leave him. That happens a lot. I've seen it. I'm a tattoo artist. I hear a lot of the clients talk about stuff like this all the time. And it's why I could talk a lot about this, because of my experiences, but also the stories that I hear, on top of the research that I've done. So if you're trying to be serious with somebody, look at their friend group. And this goes both ways. But I just feel like women are the ones that fall more victim to it because they're the ones leaving the relationship. Look at the marriage rate of divorce. They're the ones that are leaving, not the men. So that's why I'm going directly at women. If it was men leaving the relationships, okay, then I'll be able to go at it. But that percentage is huge, 70 to 80%. So a lot of the influence could be coming from their friends, TV, the shows. I mean, it could be a lot of things. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Please be careful, like who you're with, because a lot of the things that could be avoided, it's honestly all a reflection into who you are. Because if, like I said, if the man is at the top of his game, he's the best man possible, the woman's going to respect him. Same goes vice versa. If a man finds a woman that he knows that has value, he's not going to fuck it up. He's not going to fuck it up. Like, trust me. Like, I would be an idiot if I were to fuck up something with a woman that I know has value. You'll be able to tell, I'm telling you, in the first months if the woman has value. Once she starts showing those red flags, it's your choice if you want to stay or go. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they end up staying for whatever reason. And it ends up being very hard down the line. So a lot of this advice, it could only be pulled truly, I mean, because if you're already in it like 8-10 years into a relationship, it's kind of hard to kind of backtrack the years and to trying to change somebody's behaviors or outlooks on life. This has to happen very early. That's why the man has to put the boundaries. He has to put the standards. He has to do a lot very early on, because if he doesn't, it's going to become hell down the line, where it's just going to be very hard for him to change anything, especially if he finds this out later in life. It's going to be very hard because she already developed her ways. The man already developed his ways. It's really nearly impossible. Like if it comes to a place where you're in a relationship and a lot of things have been talked about, where somebody has to change, somebody went through an affair or something like that, it's better just to walk away from the marriage. Honestly, we live in a generation where people are hurting each other so much. A lot of affairs, it's honestly a lot of affairs. Like, plain simple, like it's one of the number one things that I see happen the most, besides the separation, I guess, in the relationship. I was listening to a divorce lawyer. His name is James Sexton. And he said that one of the number one indicators of divorce is when both people, they become like their own person, like they become disconnected. And once you become disconnected, you're pretty much becoming roommates. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have lived that. I'm pretty sure people live that in their past marriage or relationship or whatever. But disconnection is a motherfucker. It's one of the reasons why people separate, is when somebody builds so much resentment towards somebody, or they pretty much give up, but they're not willing to walk away. Or one person is just not willing to change or be better for the other person. And that in itself is disconnection. So that's why I said, like, you have to do a lot of these things early. Don't go into a relationship if you're not ready for a relationship. You have to work on yourself, men and women. Women, preserve your value. Honestly, man, it's the most simple thing for a man that, when he's looking for a woman. A man doesn't want to date a hoe. He just doesn't. Like, men are grossed out by women that are promiscuous for a relationship. Most guys are just going to use you. They're going to fuck you, of course, all fucking day long. But they're not going to give you the ring. They're not going to give you the commitment. It's not a flex to be with somebody like that because they're just going to use you. You ever wonder if you're with a guy for a long time and you're like, why hasn't he asked me out, this and that? Well, it's because he already disqualified you. You just didn't know. But he's still keeping you around because he's still getting access to you. Whether it be sexually, whether it be whatever reason that he wants to keep you around. But a man doesn't take long to make his mind up if he wants to commit to you. That's the thing. Like, I mean, it's common sense, guys. You know, like a guy shouldn't take that longer than a month and a half, maybe 2 months to ask you out, to, you know, become something serious with you. And if it goes longer than that and you're still giving him access to sex, either you're just, you know, I don't want to say it HOE, but that's why he's not committing to you. He's seeing signs in you. He's seeing your actions. He's seeing something that is telling him she's not the one. But I'm still getting sex from her. That's why guys keep women around like that. And another thing that happens, and I've seen it happen with many other situations that I've dealt with, is when a woman ends up hooking up with a man of value, a man that has money, status, whatever it could be, like he's at the top of his game. And the woman ends up hooking up with that type of guy. It kind of makes her delusional. Actually, no, it makes her delusional because she had that type of guy. Now her standards just easily raised. So now every other guy that she meets, they have to meet that standard. So that's what happens a lot with women when they become very picky, is because they either had a guy that had money, had whatever, has some type of status, fame, and now that woman is thinking about that guy and she's like, you know what, I was able to get him. But no, he only used you. He dominated you. That doesn't mean shit to him. And that's the delusion that women fall into. That's another way that women get modernized, is when men like this approach them and they feel some type of way. They feel special. Yeah, I might feel special to be in a presence like that, but does it really feel special to get used, to be a doormat for somebody else? Unless you're a hoe and you want to just be doing that the whole time. That's your nature if that's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, like I said, a man wants a woman that preserves her value and doesn't give her body out just to anybody due to hypergamy, due to whatever reason. That's very telling in a woman, because it's showing her discipline. It's showing that she values her body. She values her mental state. Even if the woman's not sleeping with him. When a woman practices getting DMs from guys left or right, interacting with a lot of guys. That's why there's another thing too that I'll probably talk about in my next episode. A woman that has guy friends. That's a huge red flag. Women are going to be looking at me like crazy, but I don't give a fuck. I look at the research and it's very telling. Because a woman should never have guy friends when it comes down to a relationship or a marriage. Because when there's an issue, the only man that she should be approaching is the man that she's with, not her guy friends or any just guy in general. And if she's doing that while you're meeting her or you're trying to see if she's going to be worthy of your girlfriend, look at the guys that she has on her social media. How many of them are interacting with her? How many of them is she adding? Do you think on the snap of a finger, she's going to stop talking to 10 plus guys and you're going to be the only one? No. Women are very emotional. They attach. So whenever she has this much dopamine of talking to the opposite sex, that's very bad. That's not healthy. That's what I'm saying. Like, going back to the woman I was talking about, that's the one I'm talking about. And I've seen it happen with other women as well. Like they want to get validated, especially if it's not healthy validation. And you think at the snap of a finger, once you ask her out or ask her to be your wife, she's going to change. It's not going to happen. You live in a delusional world if you think that's going to happen. Because I promise you what's going to happen if you make her your girlfriend or your wife, she's going to cheat on you. The moment that you piss her off, the moment that you get into an argument with her, guess who's waiting? It's self-explanatory. It's common sense. It's not rocket science. Just a lot of guys, they want to fucking deny it. And they think that they could save these type of women. You can never save a hoe. Don't ever try to be Captain Save a Hoe. That's where that phrase came from. And guys like this are just beta males. And women, they don't understand that. Like women say that they want a strong masculine man, a strong man that could lead. But look at who you're attracting. Look at who you're giving yourself to. Then you wonder why these men, they don't live up to your expectations. Because they were low-hanging fruit from the get-go. Like it's common sense. They approached you because they were desperate. And you allowed them to come in. If women really want to stop the hookup culture from happening, stop rewarding beta males. And guess what? It's going to completely stop. Same as guys. Stop liking these women's photos. Stop DMing them. And trust me, the culture could shift very quickly. But is it going to happen? I doubt it. I'm just giving you guys a sauce. Something that I've been truly researching, and I see it happen all the time. And fuck the research. Like, I've lived it. Like, just that in itself. You know, you don't have to be a fucking relationship coach and go to school and get taught all this stuff to be given this type of advice. You know, people go to college and learn about business from a professor that never owned a business. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, you've all heard it. Experience is the best teacher. You hear the stories, you hear the true reality of what's happening out there. I've talked to so many people in my career of tattooing. I've tattooed over 1,000 people. So guess what? In all those fucking 1,000 people, there's thousands of stories that I've heard. And up to like maybe 3 years ago, I really started reflecting. I was like, man, all these stories sound very similar. Then when I lived through it, I was like, oh, fuck, this is part of the culture. This is what's happening on a daily basis. What the fuck is happening? So I'm telling you guys this information because it could help you not be in a situation where it's going to be detrimental to your mental state. I've been in situations myself, reasons why I could talk about this, because I used to be that beta male. I used to buy the woman everything. I used to give her everything. I used to put her on a pedestal. And guess what that gave me? Misery. She lost respect for me. She didn't appreciate a lot of the things that I did. Why? Because I had no frame. I was a yes man. I was a pushover. I'll admit it. But all those podcasts that are coaches that are giving you the advice, they went through it as well. You have to go through these situations to see the other side. You have to become unplugged, especially as a man. That's what I'm saying. The man has to be everything. He has to be the leader. It all starts with men. I could attack women all day long on this shit. The small percentage, I'm not saying the complete 100% of women. This is just a very small percentage of women that I'm talking about, just for you guys to remember. But it's fucking it up for a lot of the women that actually want to be in a true relationship. But who's going to change it? Who in the woman world is going to be like, you know what, girls? Like, you guys have to fucking stop this shit. This feminist movement. Women like Taylor Swift. And you see it everywhere. Selena Gomez, it's another one. And going with that situation, there was this podcast that her and her fucking guy, I forgot his name. he was talking a lot about how her past is something that I should understand. This fucking garbage. And then in all the comments, I went to the comments, and all the girls are like, oh my God, he has emotional intelligence. Like all these fucking women. Like, you guys understand? Selena Gomez's fucking boyfriend. If you look at him, if you were to see him in the street, would you classify him as a masculine man with a frame? No, you wouldn't. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Women are, they're saying that they want men like that, but in the end, they leave men like that. I promise you that relationship is not going to work. I promise you. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to listen to what women say and what they do, because they say they want emotionally intelligent men when it benefits them. But when the man starts putting standards and boundaries on them, they're like, oh no, you're insecure. I'm like, you either want a strong man or you want a guy that's going to be passive and tell you yes to completely everything. But down the line, you're not going to be happy with the results. Because guess what? That's going to make you masculine, and it's going to make you be the leader of the relationship. I tell this to people, or to women specifically. I'm like, you work at a job, and when your boss tells you to do something, you say yes. You don't fight back. So why is it when your man tells you something, you tell them no? And he's the one that's supposed to provide. That's that's the man that you live with. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's fucked up. It really is. This modern feminist movement, it's really fucking up a lot of the relationships. I know I'm just focused on the women right now, but you know, I already beat up on the guys, and I always will. But come on, women. Like, it's one of the things that you either want a strong masculine man, or you're going to settle for a beta male that's a pushover, that's going to tell you yes to everything, but the results are going to be something that you do not want down the line. And then you're going to be questioning why you accepted that man. And then you're going to start resenting that man. A lot to think about, because I see this happen a lot. You know, so I know I already went on a little long rant right there, but honestly, it's just value that I'm trying to give you guys. Men are tired of it. They're starting to catch up with it. Some of them, like I said, maybe 10% of men truly understand being unplugged from the matrix, from the reality of what the world is trying to modernize you with. It's a very small percentage. And the rest of the guys, that's what most women deal with. Guys that are desperate, guys that see porn every single day, guys like Shannon Sharpe that are involved with OnlyFans girls. It's fucking sad. And that's why you see situations like the Amber Heard, the Johnny Depp situation. I don't know if you guys seen the Daddy Yankee. You know, she's trying to go after all his fucking money, practically all his money. We're talking about, I think it was like $1 billion. That's the result when a man does not understand the woman that he's with. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos would have been richer, but guess who kept the other half? His ex-wife instantly became one of the richest women in the world because he divorced him. That's why I preach this. Everything that I just preach is because both genders obviously have to be careful. But the man that's supposed to be the leader, he has to work on himself to become that top value man to be able to attract a valuable woman. You know, to the men that are listening, don't go to bars, to clubs, to try to find these fucking women. It's not a place that you're going to find these type of high value women, because most of these high value women, they're preserved, they're feminine, they're not trying to be seen like that, or putting themselves in situations where it's dangerous. Bars are not safe, first of all. Most guys are under the influence, so most girls, they're getting approached 2 or 3 times that entire time that they're in there. Maybe I'll talk about a whole different other podcast episode on boundaries, on what's respectable boundaries in a relationship. Because, like I said, most women are used to being with beta males their entire life, that when it comes down to finally meeting that 1% of masculine men, they don't know how the fuck to act. They retaliate. They're like, oh, you're insecure. You can't control me. This fucking garbage. And then women wonder why they're in the same situation. They can't find the right guy. The right guy is everywhere. Just most women, they're not attracted to him. That's a whole different talk. But most women, they want to look up to a man. That's why hypergamy is real with women. They don't want to look down on a man. So I'm just going to cut it down right there on this episode. Hopefully you guys took a lot of value on this. I know I went a little rant, seemed like I hear at the end, but man, just be careful, guys. Just truly work on your value. Create yourself to where you're going to attract that value, and you don't have to go chase it down, because a man that has value, he's not going to chase women. That's why there's that saying, they attract, they're the prize. If the woman wants to be if she wants to be the prize, she has to preserve herself. And the man that's valuable, he's going to see that. And that's when, maybe he will chase her as well. But just understand who you're dealing with. Like, look at their past, look at what they're doing, look at what they're doing while you're talking to them. Like, it's just, you have to do it. It's almost like a screening test or something, like where you have to really, like a job interview. Let's just put it that way. Because you have to do it nowadays, because the way it's going, I mean, what's the rate for marriages right now? It's 54% divorce rates in America, with 70 to 80% of women leaving the marriages. So it's not looking good. So if marriage is what you're looking for, you have to do these job interviews, quote unquote, especially if you wanted to be successful. You have to. You can't just create this delusion in your mind being like, you know what, they're different. They're never different. They're going to try to convince you that they're different. But look at their actions. I'm not talking about both genders. Look at what they're doing. Look at who they're following. Look at who they're talking to. Look at who they're still keeping around. It's all going to be very telling if that relationship is going to work. So hopefully you guys take that to heart. I'll talk to you guys next time. So I hope, you guys just take it to heart and understand what I'm trying to tell you guys. So till next time, Luna out.